Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Defining Discipline podcast. I'm your host, Scott. Defining discipline is a lifestyle, a mentality, and a brand. And within this podcast, we're going to focus on self improvement as you follow along with me on my journey. We'll also hear from special guests of all walks of life on this podcast and their remarkable journeys that led them to where they are today. Today is day 147 of my journey. At the beginning of the year, I challenged myself to run 365 days out of the year this year, all outside bearing the elements, whatever that may bring. I also had first originally challenged myself to run 1,250 miles within that time frame, but we're ahead of schedule on that, so we changed it to 1,500 miles within the year. 365 days, 1,500 miles. We are 147 days into this journey. This is my second year ever running officially. Within the first full year, I was able to run 1,002 miles, and I did that within 175 days. So this will be my second year running, like I said, and this will be a 50% step up in the amount of miles we are attempting and a 100% increase as well in the amount of days I will be running this year as opposed to last year in 2020. Like I said, today was day 147, so we're going to go quick over some mileage for the day, the week, the month, and year, and then we're going to talk about the fundraiser that is currently going on, and then we will get right into the episode for today and the theme about today. So, for mileage for the day 147, I was able to get out there and pump out 3.1 miles for the day. I did 1.5 at a slower pace with my wife again today for the second day in a row. She is also training. She will be running her half marathon, the Detroit Free Press half marathon, as I'm running the full marathon this year. So it's really exciting. We're getting her training schedule going. So she ran with me today too, but only 1.5. I put in 3.1. So for after today's run for the week, that puts us at 13.4 miles for the week. Now for the month after today's run, we are sitting at 129.9 miles for the month. And for the year, we are sitting at 645.3 miles, guys. Now let's quickly talk about the fundraiser. Every single month, I decided to challenge myself to a 100-mile challenge, and I do that in honor of a different charity where I donate, and I also start a fundraiser and try to raise awareness and donations for that fundraiser as I'm running the 100 miles throughout each month. The first 4 months, we were able to raise money and able to surpass all the mile challenges for 4 great charities, them being the American Cancer Society, the Detroit Black Community Food Security Network, Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, and then Autism Speaks. Now we're sitting here in May, the 5th month. We are currently raising money and awareness for To Write Love on Her Arms, guys. And what they do is they focus on mental health issues. So if you kind of have any kind of mental health issue, suicidal thoughts, maybe you're going through substance abuse and addiction, they are a hotline that you can contact and are able to, they have someone that will talk to you and try to help you get through that situation. They may even refer you to doctors and all that kind of stuff. I discovered this nonprofit actually a while ago through a lot of the concerts I used to go to, a lot of the pop punk bands and like Warped Tour, things like that. They were always at stuff like that, showing up and making themselves aware for a while now. So they're an older nonprofit that has been around that focuses on mental health issues and things like that. So if you would like to donate to this fundraiser, you could find the link to do that on the Defining Discipline Instagram story as well as the Defining Discipline Facebook story. Or you could find it on my personal page's Instagram story or my personal page's Facebook story. Within the story, at the very top of the story, it'll say donate on Facebook. You click on that link. It'll open up you a link on Facebook where you can make your donation. All donations that get made go directly to this fundraiser and charity. Facebook takes zero cut, so that's why I continue to do these fundraisers through Facebook, because they've agreed to not take any cut out of the fundraisers and make sure that all the fundraisers get exactly what gets donated to them, which is a really, really cool thing, guys. That being said, though, I do know times are tough. Being 2020 happening now, we're in 2021. Still, people are trying to recover. Some people still aren't working. Maybe they still don't got the money situation all together. I get that you can't afford to donate, but the best thing you could do if you can't donate, even if you can donate, still, this is still a great up step to do, is share this fundraiser so other people can see it. We can raise awareness, and maybe other people on your Facebook friends will see it and will be able to donate, and we can make some money and raise awareness for these great fundraisers through the rest of the year, and especially this month, guys. Now, that being said, this whole month, I just wanted to talk about it. It being Mental Health Awareness Month, guys, I wanted to just discuss a little bit about mental health. I think I'm not a doctor, so I'm not 100% sure. I'm not positive on anything, but I just truly believe that we all will sometime go through some kind of mental health issue, depression or whatever it may be. Everyone has different issues, but we will all suffer from some sort of mental health issue throughout our lives. And so don't think that you are alone if you really are going through something, currently, or if you have gone through something. Don't think that you know that the way you feel is not normal. A lot of people feel like this. A lot of people suffer through this, and try to get help for it. And there are many ways to try to get help. There are many ways to try to cope with it. There are many holistic. There are many there's medication as well. You don't have to go the holistic route. There is just conversation with people really helps out a lot if you're going through something, and maybe just reaching out to even a stranger really helps. Reaching out to these hotlines like To Write Love on Our Arms can really help out. Talking to a stranger, having a perspective of someone that is not in your life, and letting them really try to help you or cope you through something that maybe you're afraid people that in your life won't understand. So, talking can really help a lot. I'm a big advocate of exercise. This podcast being about getting out there and running and really trying to take care of your body and boost your immune system and just really get the blood pumping and flowing. That is something that has helped me tremendously. I have suffered through depression in certain parts of my life, and I've suffered through other mental issues that have been very debilitating throughout my different periods of my life. And one time I tried to do medication through a doctor. It didn't really work well for me. It made me more tired, and it made me feel a little bit worse at the time. So I quit that and eventually tried to just start self-medicating with, things I probably shouldn't have, that probably didn't help the situation, which it didn't. But, eventually now I got to the point where I'm exercising, and it has really helped me tremendously mentally on another level. I know that's not everyone's outlet, so don't think that it's the only outlet. I know I push it hard because I know it's helped me a lot, and I would like everyone to really do it, because I think it really helps out even more than you think. Your whole body just feels better. You feel better. But I get it. If you can't and you don't have the ability to, or you just don't feel like it, don't feel ashamed if you have to go to the doctor and try to go the medication route. Don't feel ashamed if you have to talk to someone. These are all things that are normal and completely fine. And the main thing, the message to get out there, is to really just get out there and talk to someone, and get out there and try to get help if you think you really need the help. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Get out there and reach out to someone. Reach out to a doctor. Reach out to whoever you have to get help if you truly need it. And if you think you know someone who may need help, don't be afraid to reach out and just try to help them. Don't pry too much, or don't be over persistent, because that can sometimes make it worse, or whatever the situation is. But just try to be there for them. Reach out. Just let them know. Maybe don't give them too much advice unless they ask for it, but just be there to listen and try to support this person as much as you can. Now that we got the miles out of the way, now that we talked about the fundraiser, and we talked a little bit about mental health awareness and just mental health issues in general. All right, now that we talked about miles, now that we talked about the 100-mile challenge in honor of To Write Love on Our Arms, and now that we've talked about mental health awareness and just mental health issues in general, and things you can do about them. Let's finally get into today's episode 147. Um, these last few themes for the couple months have kind of had this related aspect to them. We've talked about unknown, we've talked about conserving, we've talked about shifting, we've talked about tapering, we've talked about criticism, we've talked about risk. Okay, now we're going to talk about something again that is kind of within that realm. And it's something I really want to talk about because it's something I'm focusing on, and I have focused on throughout this past year, and not enough clearly, but when I do this, it helps out tremendously, especially when I really evaluate things and focus on what's going on. So let's talk about it. Episode 147. Today's theme is going to be detach, guys. Now, sometimes things get crazy. Sometimes things just are out of your control and you can't control them. And sometimes, as much as you want to believe you control them, you just need to let go. Sometimes the best thing to do is just to let it go. It's to just move on, to just forget about it, to just detach. Detaching can be sometimes one of the hardest things to do. But detaching seems like a negative word. It seems like you're losing something. But if you really kind of flip it and look at it in the positive sense, what you can get from detachment, especially if you detach yourself from those negative things within your life, the possibilities, man, are endless. There are so many things that were out of my control that I let really stress me out, really get on my nerves, let just really, get down to my core and just really rile me up and just really upset me. And stress is never the answer. Stress is a killer. And letting things that I have no control over get to me like that, not only is it not good for me, but it's just not smart. It's like a stupid thing to do. And it's something I feel like we all constantly do. We feel like we are so smart and better than everyone, but we do dumb things like let things that are completely out of our control our emotions, control how we react. And the more that I have detached myself from doing this, the more I've detached myself from the problems, the more that I detach myself from all this outside noise trying to sway me. Okay? No matter what the case is, there's always going to be outside noise. There's always going to be people selling you one way and selling you the other way. And you're never going to know what, if you really listen to both of them, they both have valid arguments. You don't have to listen to either of them. You can just go out there and live. Just detach yourself from all of the noise. Especially if there's something that I found out if there's something that I don't even have necessarily a say in, so I don't even really need to have an opinion, and I shouldn't have an opinion in, and I shouldn't let it bother me. And once I've detached myself from that situation, it just seems like so much easier, so much less stress that I have built up in my own head to worry about, because it doesn't matter. The more I've detached, the more I have looked and seen just seen things from the outside perspective, and it's such a eye-opening thing, it's crazy. And I just really think that if you can detach yourself from these problems, detach yourself from things that are really holding you back, things can be one endless, but limitless. Things I think, I mean, obviously there's always going to be a limit, but I think you're going to be able to really push yourself past, push yourself to a potential that at one time you thought was possible, but you had driven out of your body because you have let so many things um, just weigh you down with stress that you have no. You what let so many things out of your control weigh you down with stress that the things that you actually can control are on the back burner. You're not even thinking about them. That is the main thing about detaching, is the things that until you detach, the things that you can actually change within your life are just going to stay behind you. You're never going to see them. You're never going to attend to them. You're never going to really focus on them and work on them if you're always focusing on the bigger problems that are out of your reach. And you may think that yes, you start with a bigger problem and you could change that, but change it on an individual level. Detach yourself from these problems and focus on the ones that you can actually change. Sometimes, and it's not always just detaching yourself from problems. Sometimes you got to detach yourself from habits. Sometimes you got to detach yourself from comfort, because too much comfort, too many bad habits are not good. Sometimes you got to just let go of these things. Sometimes we hold on to these things because they're pleasurable, and they're pleasurable to us. And, that's great and all, but pleasurable things come with consequences. Like it or not, they come with consequences. So you can hold on to something that's pleasurable at the surface, but is truly rotten at the core. And if you do that, I'm telling you, it is a complete recipe for self-suffering that just could have been avoided. So sometimes we fall into these habits. Sometimes we fall into these comfort zones. Sometimes we fall into pleasure-seeking. Sometimes we just fall into pleasure-seeking in general. We got to detach from that. We have to really focus on the things at hand that we can control. And, I am not perfect. This is work every single day that I am trying to do myself. And I'm recording these episodes, especially these solo ones where I talk about stuff like this. One, so I can go back eventually and remind myself and continue to work on it day in, day out. Defining discipline. I am here to do that. I am trying to work on myself every single day and focus on these things to become a better person. And we have to detach. I have to detach. We all have to detach from these things that are really holding us back. We have to detach from the things that are out of our control. We have to detach from the things that are in our comfort zones. We have to detach the things that are pleasurable. We have to, really try to just avoid these things that aren't making us advance, that aren't strengthening us, that aren't challenging us as a person to become better. So that's all I really kind of want to talk about today, was just detachment and the things, how we need to really focus on detaching within our lives. We just really need to focus on some things that readjust, I guess, our priorities of what we think we can do and change, and just really focus on things that we can get done. Detach ourselves from this outside noise. Detach yourself from, like I said, these pleasurable things. So that's today's episode 147. Before we leave, though, I'm going to leave you with your daily discipline. And for that, I want you guys to really just take inventory of your life. Think of all the things within your life. Think of everything you do. Think of the things that really get on your nerves, that really stress you out, that you have no control over, that you are letting just really eat you to the core, whatever it may be. Okay? Really focus on that. Really think about those. Okay? And then also take inventory of your life and think about all of the pleasurable things that you do, all the comfort zones that you fall into. Think about how they're holding you back. Think about how you maybe never challenge yourself to do better because you feel comfortable. Maybe, maybe you're not. Maybe you've lost your the urge to really try to strive and do better because you're just comfortable. So think about, take inventory about that. Really think about that. And for your daily discipline, I want you to really start to try to detach yourself from those things. Detach yourself from that outside noise. Detach yourself from, uh, things that you can't control. Detach yourself from these pleasurable things that are holding you back. Detach yourself. Just don't just detach yourself. That is your daily discipline. It is to really get out there and, again, just let go of these things that you really need to let go of and move on. Forget it. Move on. Let it go. Detach. That is your daily discipline for the day, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you so much for following along with this podcast. Every single day has been a journey. As you can see, got the mic out. We are trying to advance every single day, get the podcast actually up and running. Hopefully, we're going to be getting the guests on here real soon. I think we're going to actually pre-record the guests, and I'm going to have to edit them in. So I don't think it's going to be the same day recorded and then posted as these are. But I will still do a podcast the day that I'll double podcast when I record the guest podcasts. So you will still have a daily podcast every single day, ladies and gentlemen, but we are going to be trying to roll in guests here, trying to get the studio still finished. There's still a lot of things that need to be cleaned up. This isn't exactly how it's going to be finished. Probably won't be aiming this way. Might be aiming a little bit in different areas. I might be sitting on the other side over here. I got a whole setup right here, so just excited to really get the ball moving and rolling, and excited for what's going to happen. Also a little nervous, but hey, sometimes, like we've talked about in previous episodes, like in episode 140, sometimes you just gotta trust the risk. Sometimes you gotta take the risk. Sometimes you gotta trust it. So thanks so much for listening. Episode 147 now in the books. If you guys can, please give the podcast a like, a subscribe, a follow, and a share on our Instagram, our Facebook, and whatever podcast streaming platform you guys have been listening on. Other than that, thanks so much. I'll see you guys for episode 148 tomorrow. Probably just going to put in again another 3.1 or 3.5. We'll see. And yeah, thanks so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.